shipping anything right now.
Really?
You got it all sold, right?
No, it's waiting on new pricing.
Yeah. See, some of that, now we're gonna talk politics, but, you know, some of that tariff stuff, like New Holland combines, are they only made in Belgium? One spot in the world, right? In the world. The US ain't gonna build a New Holland combine plant. So,
Interesting.
I didn't know if there was more than one.
No.
I knew there wasn't many.
Used to be made in Grand Island, but they shipped it over there.
You bought reinforcements, Kelly.
We're all part of the board.
Brian will be back shortly.
We hope.
I got him driving down the street.
Some running the other way.
You ain't got nothing that scary.
Never know.
Yeah, I do.
Are they pretty caught up on what you can get to them now available?
Yeah, they've all slowed up their auctions, so it's.
Not near as bad as what it was a couple of years ago.
Maybe it's a good time of year also, right? Versus October.
Yep.
Or November, would be worse.
Worse.
So, you know, not to tell you what to do, but really we could have thought easier. And say, if we could do the border patrol, that's a rubber stamp. But easier.
You could. Okay, good morning, guys, welcome.
All right, I know last year at the meetings, the chairman for the Wells County Township Association officers asked for a contract with a blader. I asked at our annual meeting. He said we weren't going to do one. I went to McHenry County, I went to Pierce County, I got a copy of their contracts, revised it to where it says Wells County on it. We would like to sign a contract, or a copy, agreement for blading stuff this year, so that we know what we're paying for. Something pretty basic, that's it, just a contract.
Got do you have a copy of here?
No, I
No,
just had one
not
copy.
this.
You can make copies of it.
That's from McHenry's?
McHenry and Pierce.
Oh, Pierce has a written one?
Oh, yeah.
I know McHenry did. I didn't.
It's their version.
They're virtually
Oh, it's
identical.
the same.
Yeah, it's just a written agreement stating that
Donate their change.
we don't have the equipment or the operators
Oh,
to do
sure.
the blading. This is what the money is going for. That's basically all it is.
Part of that stack of papers there is the same thing from Manford Township.
Yeah.
Okay, you got from that. Oh, yeah, I know.
Why didn't I see?
You know,
Good.
It's not in your packet, it's in
I
that
just
stack that
marked it down.
Dennis
Oh, you
has.
get all the stuff, we don't get it.
We worded identical, so I printed it off for you.
Okay, that
You know, that's the,
Brian, do you want me to quick make 6 copies of that?
Yeah.
It'll take me about 2 minutes, you
Thank
got it.
you.
I'm sure it's the same as this one
Yeah.
here, you guys can look at that one.
well,
It's
It's the exact same. That is the exact same as Sherry. Or not Sherry.
McHenry's, we didn't reinvent the world.
Whatever you do, don't tear it apart.
Too late.
There's probably only one thing on there that I read, and it isn't necessarily what you turned in, Kelly, but what came from Manford Township, is that, assuming we got one from every township, and we don't have that, but if we did, it would be 36 different sets of instructions for your road crew. Because there is a point on there, and it's in the lower
Yes.
third of that that says it's up to the supervisors how the roads are bladed. And I don't believe that's the case now. So I'm not
It should be
100%.
because it's our roads.
That's true. But I guess we could quit altogether, you know, I mean.
I understand that, but, I mean, when Frank started our district, I wrote him the first year of what we wanted done. Great year, break him up that year. Following year, I sent him out with someone else, and that's it. And it's not that he couldn't do it. I mean, you're gonna have a window up till about the third week of June. well, then you should be able to have the material worked in and on the road, not on the shoulder. Where we get it is on the river hills, where he's got the window, we get a heavy rain, it washes it out.
And I'm not personally
Right.
opposed to it, but I know it puts the road department in a little bit of a box.
So you're talking number 4 here.
Yeah.
The county blade operator shall do the job according to how the township supervisors requested.
Yeah, that's the one, and
That's the
it's,
one that,
to me, that's a little bit, I'm not sure if I was in that circumstance, if I would sign that, based on how that's written. You know, maybe there's a way to clarify that, so it's a little less innocuous, but
So you're saying have a universal for the county?
well, you went through this, not
That's good.
universal.
Yeah.
and I don't wanna, maybe Brent should be the one that addresses that, I don't know.
Well, we gotta look at it here.
Well, yeah, if
Number 4,
number 4,
what we're talking about.
Well,
to me,
I mean, we basically, if we're gonna do any type of aggressive shoulder pull, we want township approval anyway. Usually the township allows us, you know, we'll say we want these miles pulled. You know, I mean, what are you talking zero windrow year round? Are you talking no working windrow at all? You know, I mean, every township has their idea of how they want their roads. Do they want, you know, I mean, are you gonna get into where we want every road 24 feet, we want every road 22 feet? I mean, there's, what, you know, I mean, so it's a very sticky wicket.
It is.
You know, I mean, we try to maintain crown on gravel roads and, you know, I mean, so I don't foresee an issue unless, I mean, what specifically would you like?
Yeah, give me an example, Kelly.
Yes.
The kicker for me would be from about third week of June on, there doesn't need to be a winter. That's my kicker. You know, once the shoulders are pulled in, that grass will shoot up. I mean, you're gonna have some, I understand that. But the gravel's supposed to be on the road. Big for us is the river hills. It leaves a window on the river hills, we get a heavy rain, it's washed off and gone. You know, that's where we run into, or we get a heavy rain when that windrow's there, you've got a dam on the road. That's my only kicker right now.
Well, we don't, you know, we want to have in the summer and obviously in the spring, you're gonna have some windrow as you're pulling in gravel. We do not want a huge working windrow. One thing that, you know, I mean, it's dependent on the year. If you have a very wet year and you got vegetation growing fast, to go up and back, you're gonna have vegetation that gets left on the side of the road, which is gonna, in some areas, will have some bigger piles of windrow or, you know, thins out. So trying to say, you know, I mean, we understand you don't want a big working windrow, either do we, but there are gonna be extenuating circumstances.
Yes, and I understand that also.
Okay.
I
want
want to have it so we can communicate what we want.
Right,
done.
we want you to
Yes,
communicate with your
yes,
blade
I know.
operator, absolutely.
I think we all agree on that. I think we want the township's input.
if I'd like to suggest some wording change in 4, the county blade operator shall do his job to the best of his ability according to how the township supervisor requested. Because now you gotta define, and I'm not saying you're gonna do this, but this would just be an avenue in which if the blade operator doesn't do exactly what the township supervisors want, we're not gonna pay this. That's
No.
an out. And I'm not saying you're gonna do that, but if you would change that to the best of his ability, then there's some flexibility there. Or is that word not
Yeah, I
right?
like flexibility because there's weather conditions, there's all kinds of
Yes.
variables that come in.
And guys, we didn't come up with this. This was a copy and paste and change the name. And Pierce County and McHenry County are using
Yeah,
the exact same agreement.
yeah.
It's what it says, like who it's between.
Is the
It's the only thing that's different, so it's not like we came up with this.
No, I think it's.
We're just trying to come up
They
with
probably came up with it from a state template or something.
Exactly.
Possibly,
Who knows all
yes.
the
It's
time.
more just having something in writing that says what we're paying for, that's all. It's not,
Yeah, I don't see any, I mean, I don't see
I'm
any
good with
issues.
it.
I think we're good with it, yeah.
You know,
You want that wording changed though?
Well, I threw it out there. We'd have to make a motion though to do this, because now we gotta, we're gonna send 36 of them out, right?
Well,
And what we want to do is that every township's under the same one.
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. It's a blanket one that uses.
I think we're just here for our township, but I agree, why would you want 36 different ones? You know,
Right.
all one.
They
they all gotta be the same.
Yes. Blanket
And I
one
think-
send out, it'd be done.
You know, I'm glad you guys came in, because we have the meeting, we wanted input from the townships. In fact, we have, I don't know, several ones here which range from not liking it one bit to another one saying they'd like to pay more. So, you know, that's why you gotta have something uniform.
Yeah, right, and that's the whole goal of it, let's get it out so every township can have it and done.
yeah, you know, it's pretty much just,
Basic.
you know, it just basically says that we're gonna blade the roads in the summer and the winter. In the winter, it depends on which area we start in different areas.
Right.
Everything is basically what we do from in the spring when the frost is removed to when it freezes up in the fall. You know, we want our blade operators we want our supervisors in our townships to contact our blade operators. You know, say, you know, and Frank, you guys have worked with Frank for a long time. You know, other than that, you know, with what Stan said, it seems to me to be a pretty straightforward agreement.
What I would suggest, guys, can you let us take this under advisement and check with Oliver, our state attorney, he's really good at this stuff, and to make sure everything's up to par, and then I think we wouldn't have to.
Sign thing, yeah, we'll figure it out.
You know, here too, I would make a motion to adopt this agreement for road maintenance contingent upon our state's attorney's approval. That way we don't need
Is
to
that a
bring
motion?
it up. Yes, it is.
Is there a second to that? Any discussion on that? That's a good idea.
The one thing that I would definitely change in the wording is in number 2, where it says areas where chloride has been applied, road maintenance will be under the discretion of the county commission. We would like that to be under the discretion of the landowner or the township that put the chloride down.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's becoming more and more popular that chloride's going down, and usually 8 out of 10 will say lift up and go over. Some of them will say scratch it up once in a while, but I think that should be in the hands of not the commissioners, but the person or the township that put the chloride down.
Very good.
So I would change that wording.
Very good.
From
Yeah,
county
yeah.
commission to what, township, or to?
Landowner.
To the town,
Well, the guy that
the
did it.
commission isn't putting any chloride down. It would either be the landowner or maybe a township in some
In
instance.
front of the landowner's house.
Yeah, I mean, if the
They want
township
to-
decided, if the township decided that they were gonna chloride a half mile, say through Prairie Valley, or through Peaceful Valley or something to control dust, they're the ones that paid to have the chloride down. They should be at the discretion of whether they want us to lift up or not the commission. It should be worded who applied or paid for the
Very good.
chloride.
What we'll do is we'll get Oliver in here for a minute, we'll go through this thing step by step and get it checked out.
That'll work.
Okay?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks for
Good
coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for this.
Appreciate it.
Simplicity.
Frank was out, he went from Rick Seibel down to Ron Schmidt, pulled pretty heavy, full. You want to see, and that was before the snow. The road looks pretty good.
I was down in the southwest part of the state yesterday, and I actually saw some pretty neat equipment on the blades for busting up the windrow.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, we have
hydraulic,
this, yeah.
rotiller that brings up the drive.
We're gonna revise this.
Yep.
You give a second.
We got a second.
All right. Appreciate you guys coming in.
There isn't any other discussion.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Paul Anderson, I would have guessed it.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Wording
I-
of
believe
number
me, we
2
know where all
to
the-
township or And in four,
That would be a
village shall do the job to the best of his ability.
And then Dan needs to write those down. So,
I'm glad you brought this in.
do you have it down?
Thank you.
Yeah, I got it.
Huh?
I have it.
Okay,
That's
Is
part of
Janelle out there?
pardon? Any other discussion on it? Okay, but I know, and I think it's a great deal, we'll go through those and make those two changes for now, and then have Oliver check it over.
He's gonna be busy.
Oliver could reinvent the wheel here.
He's-
This has been looked at in all kinds of states attorneys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a copy, yes, I do. Yep.
if there are any other questions or discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, we'll get the ball rolling here.
Janelle will be here in 1 minute.
I'm gonna circulate.
Are you done or are you gonna lick the plate?
No, you can
Okay. Okay.
make the play.
Who's next on the agenda, Jason?
Janelle.
Warming up her chair for her.
Yep.
There you go. One thing that I do like on there though is when you read number 2.
4 times, or
Once a month.
yeah.
Which is, we're getting calls when, you know how many calls they get when we ain't seen a blade in 16 days. Here you see agreement where it's about every 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Which is nice, I mean, it's.
Well, it just shows that we
That's
are
not-
trying to get around and we're not behind schedule when we're getting around every three and a half months.
As these agreements get sent out, that should probably have a note in there.
I was just warming up your chair for you.
It's
not hot, is it?
Nope, it's not hot.
Just for,
There you go.
That information is always good.
I mean, because they're gonna say, where'd you come up with all that?
Good morning, happy county government week.
Oh,
Man.
Did you bring us a treat?
yeah, Dan did. That's why we got summer rolls. Now we're expecting dinner coming up. But,
I
wait.
put that bug in Stuckman's ear for you, that's why you
Oh.
got, you're all welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And every man is a good woman.
Yeah, see, there you go.
That works.
So today I'm talking to you on Festival Hall. We've visited over the years on some different things out there, and I think it's time to make some decisions as to window and door replacement out there. I think if you've all been out there, you know the windows aren't sealing the best, and the wooden sills are starting to deteriorate from the moisture. The south doors are giving all the rentals some issues with, the south doors are bad, and they don't seal either. So when I talked to Dan, before I contacted anybody for bids on windows, is that something you even see this year being a project for the county? I don't want to waste anybody's time if you want to push it off.
Would it be like every window, or?
Yeah.
How many total are there?
16 upstairs, I think we counted. Something like that.
Any ballpark figure per window would be, any idea?
Didn't even ask anybody because like I said, I didn't want to get anybody out there and then find out you guys
Downstairs.
would be the same, I suppose. I didn't even look at the downstairs ones. I was just talking the upstairs ones.
Any grants available for that anywhere, of any type?
Not that I'm aware of. I can certainly check into that. It's a historical building, so you have to go through them.
That would
And I
be
don't know.
an avenue.
At least check.
Dan, is there a budget fund for Festival Hall, or is that general fund deal? Or
That's pretty much all general fund. She's not wrong. I mean, the windows are the worst of the deal, and you know, there's some things that you could maybe do to mitigate the door circumstances there, but as they're structured right now, the damper slams that door and it just hammers away at that metal brace in the middle, and it gets them out of whack after a couple closes of that door. If people could just gently close the door, we wouldn't have that issue, but they just let the thing slam, and it does slam. But the windows are probably the most egregious need. You have two other things that are lower here on your agenda today. which makes tackling all of these difficult to do in any given fiscal year. But it's something you're gonna have to plan for if you wanna maintain that building. So,
You know, we're shooting in the dark here as far as dollar amounts. I suppose we should get an estimate and then we can go from there.
I would think that would be our first step.
Perfect, I can take care of that. I don't know, I'll see a couple companies. I know Dan and I, we had talked about a couple out of Harvey, they don't have any time for any projects this year at all, and I think it's gonna be tough everywhere.
Probably.
But I'll do some checking to see.
But, you know, that gives us time to adjust to it also.
Yep,
And
and I have no
and really a
problem.
separate bid between for the doors and the windows, because we could do one and not the other.
Yep,
I almost, in my mind, I almost think those doors are almost more important because you can see right out those things. They gotta be,
especially in the, I mean, we lose so much in
Yeah.
the winter time out the windows and doors out there that it's not even.
and they gotta be special doors where you can move big stuff in and out, so they gotta be able to make it wide open.
Great. I'll do what I can. I'll
Okay.
reach out to a couple of places. My last thing on Festival Hall is I would like you as the county commission to give one free rental a year to the Pheasant Country Club in appreciation for all the bar work they do out there, sometimes at the drop of a hat. And I would hate to lose them as our licensed liquor holder out there. And then just as a gesture of goodwill, they do one spring fling out there a year, if we could waive their rental fee for that. And they didn't ask me, I'm asking you on my own to do that for them.
So like if other events go on, then they're the first ones that are asked.
They're the only ones, they're
They
the
do
only
the liquor.
ones.
And they have to pay a rental every time they do that?
No, they don't, but when they use the festival hall for their one spring fling
Oh,
fundraiser,
okay.
they have to, they have paid the county in the past to
So what's the
them.
rental?
Yeah, what's the rental?
300 for them.
And like a wedding, does it vary? Is it always 300?
Well,
What-
no,
let's
the
say it's a
rental,
wedding.
the weddings are $600 to the county,
Right.
and then the bar comes in and sets up.
Right.
But for the golf course, I just want you to waive the golf course's spring fling
Just
one
for their
time.
spring fling thing.
That's it.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Motion made by Stan to approve free rental for their spring fling.
Just
There's
one a year, and then
There's a second to that.
So,
Second by Brian Miller. Any discussion on it? I think it's good to approve. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
that's all I had.
Let's get back to the doors and windows. Where would be a good place to look for grants next year?
The only,
Two
I mean,
different
it's a
places.
historical building, so I imagine the Historical Society may, I don't know if
We've
any
gone down
other.
that road before.
I know it.
I don't know.
But it never hurts to check on that
A lot of
stuff.
stipulations with that.
There's stipulations and they don't have any money. You gotta just do the stuff as to how they stipulate it.
If it's historical, I think we do anyway, don't we?
there is,
Yeah, you have to, it is.
the windows are gonna fit that category. There is nothing historically unique about the doors that are on either end of that building. They're just steel industrial
The
doors,
windows,
commercial
the windows
doors.
are gonna cost more, aren't they?
The windows will cost significantly more. The
Yeah.
window project will be 6 figures. Doors, front doors, you probably get for $5,000. But, and then it goes, you got a back door too, but the windows will get into 6 figures. I'm positive of that.
Windows are,
If you're gonna get anything that's gonna last. So,
well, get it in.
I know there's been some contractors in town here working on different houses, doing siding and windows. That was the avenue I was going to approach, rather than get bids from the lumberyard and try to find a contractor.
Right, yeah.
I think it would be easier to go.
We don't need a hard and fast bid, we need a ballpark at this point.
Yeah, whatever started point, we appreciate that.
Yeah. Anything else for me?
Now, are you talking both upstairs and downstairs?
Well, we didn't consider the downstairs when Dan and I looked at the upstairs
The
windows.
upstairs, you can see where it's peeling away from the one.
The downstairs windows are different. They're the crank out
Yep.
ones versus what's
I
upstairs.
just was
And they
wondering,
seem
this-
to be more protected from the elements.
So it doesn't hurt to just look at it.
Yeah, well, as long as they're here, we'll
Yeah.
do it
I
all.
went downstairs.
All right, carry on.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thanks, Neil.
Yep, thanks, Dan.
The, the windows that we put into this courthouse, and there's a lot of windows in this courthouse, but that's over $250,000. So you can
I know.
just figure, it'll be six figures.
Yeah.
For sure.
Crazy.
And if I remember right, there is something like 24 or
Jason
25
here?
windows, not
yet.
No, he was coming to turn.
You're a half hour early, but
Well, I
done ahead of time.
I wanted to come to the Kelly Boucher, I wanted to see what that was about, so,
I know,
yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah,
Oh, we can, well, is there some of this other
Do
stuff?
that planning and zoning stuff, not to tell you what to do.
Yeah,
Not to get behind her, but you know, when you're talking about the basement windows,
yeah.
okay, so what would be wrong if they covered half or more
They're
of
new
them,
members.
at least left one so you could get out?
Yeah, we did the close.
You know what I mean? Because you could take that space and insulate it, plywood it, cover it.
Yes.
You still would want to pick a window or two so somebody can get out.
I'm sure you'd have to have that.
I mean, you know, just an idea.
oh, Jason, are you here?
Yeah, Dan, can we do the board adjustment?
There was a guy that walked
appointments?
past, looked like him.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You might be using the restroom.
Take 2 seconds. They've already come to a meeting, so we should.
So it's a matter of just, we need a motion to accept both of those guys? Is
Yep.
that it? Anybody want to make that motion? Brian Lout made a motion to accept Warren Strand and Chad Ziegler for the planning and zoning committee. Is there a second for that? Second by Boone. Any discussion on it? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion made and second. Approved. Did you say Jason was here?
I think he will quick use the restroom.
Okay. He wants
Right by, here.
Is somebody coming from Village or Township?
No.
No, that's the culvert deal.
Okay.
The gaming permit renewal from Bremen Bar, is that something new, or is
No,
that an annual?
that's an ongoing deal, yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Want to make a motion to accept that?
So,
Stan made the motion, Brian Miller made the second. Any discussion on it? Any discussion, it's just an annual thing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. That one's
morning.
Morning.
Warm up nicely.
good. Morning, Jason.
Morning, yes. Well, before I pass out this cost estimate, are you guys ready for it?
Yeah.
I want to start with a caveat that I added everything that we had discussed doing in there so we can sort this out, because
Okay.
the sticker price is a lot higher than we had originally talked
You're
about.
all supposed to sit down for this.
Yeah, of course.
That's why I'm adding that in.
We got
So the total I've got here is for 2.17 million. But I've got some things highlighted here to look at. Well, first I guess I'll start with the mitigation. I think when Kent came, so was that in February?
Yep.
He told you guys we were looking at a little over 3 acres of mitigation was the
Well, we
original.
were gonna raise it, and by raising the grade, we would need, yeah, it was 3 acres, yeah, it was $240,000, so yeah, 3 acres.
It was 3.09 acres. If you look on the second sheet there, we got it down to 1.69 acres, and that wasn't decreasing the grade raise by a whole lot. Mainly what we can do east of the slough is we can move the ditch, they call it a ditch move. You move the ditch further away from the road, and essentially the wetland just moves then, so that's considered onsite mitigation. So we are saving an acre and a half there, which is, $126,000, I guess, right there. We are already saving that. The rest of that mitigation, we're hoping still to save some of that 142,000 by expanding the slough, but we're in the process of dealing with the Corps right now. We had to go, because it's over a half an acre of impact, we actually had to, and they took jurisdiction on it, we had to go